plant fam, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Jacqueline. This is my kitchen and it's kind of a mess right now, so I apologize for that. But if you're not new here, thank you for coming back. I appreciate you for still being here. And today I have some, just like literally a quick little plant chore to get done, and some of you had requested that I do an updated video on how I propagate my Hoya. I've done lots of Hoya propagation videos in the past, but I figured I would show you guys this variegated Hoya species affinity Bertonier that I have, and we're gonna propagate it together and make some cute little baby plants. So Hoya species affinity Bertonier variegated. We have really bad lighting today because it's rainy and nasty out. You can probably also hear my humidifier and my heater and everything in the background, and I apologize for that. But we've got the overhead lights on. It's not cute, girl, it's not cute, but this plant is, and she's been growing. Do you see how much she's growing? But I definitely need to give her a good haircut, so that is what we're gonna do today. So pretty much I'm gonna start with the basics for you, just in case. We're gonna go over the anatomy of the plant really quickly. So you've got the leaves, we all know what leaves look like, and then you've got the stems, which are obviously these long pieces that come out that hold the leaves, but what connects the leaf to the stem is called the petiole, and then where it connects there, the petiole to the stem, is called a node. A lot of the time at the nodes you're going to get aerial roots. Nodes are where new growth or roots happen from. So you need to have nodes for Hoya, just like you will for aroids. You need a node to be able to propagate Hoya. So pretty much all you need to do is find a space in between two nodes. We call this the internodal space here, clearly. It's a space in between two nodes, and you're just gonna cut it. So you wanna make sure that you sanitize your scissors, and then I'm gonna go in and I'm literally, if it would focus, just gonna cut in between these nodes. Bloop. All right, so let's start with one vine. Where did it go? We're tangled. These bleed a lot too, so I definitely recommend having some paper towel nearby. And the Hoya sap is not toxic, but it is irritating to your skin, so I don't recommend it. Hoya are non-toxic in general. They have latex in their sap and in their flowers and stuff like that, so just, you know, if you have an allergy to latex, maybe don't eat Hoya sap. I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna put this guy down, and then I'm gonna tilt you down. I have a bowl here of moss and perlite. I just mixed it up. It's pre-moistened. It's always good to rinse your perlite. I just use like a pot with drainage, rinse it, and then I throw it in here with my pre-moistened moss, and I make it like a little salad, you know? Okay, so here we are. I've got my moss and my perlite. I've got my cutting that I just took, and I've got my clear containers that I plan on putting it in. Since these aren't rooted, I can fill up this container beforehand, like that. And then I want to remember where I cut it. So I'm gonna want to leave more stem on the bottom part of the cutting so that I have more stem to stick into the moss, if that makes sense. So basically what I'm gonna do is make individual node cutting. So I'm gonna cut, you wanna leave some stem above the node. Make sure it's like focusing, there we go. You want to leave some stem above the node here, but you don't need to leave a lot. So I'm going to cut it right there. And it's going to bleed all over me because these do bleed a lot. And now I have my little cutting with the longer stem, and it's just going to go boop right in there like that. And I do also have these. 10 out of 10 recommend these. I'll leave all this linked down below for you guys. The moss, the perlite, the clear cups, the propagation pins, because sometimes Hoya you need to pin them down. But I'm gonna get more cuttings in there first and see how it goes. If I fill it up enough, I might not need it. So I'm just gonna continue to make similar cuttings. So again, like I said, I'm gonna leave just like a little bit of stem at the top, but more at the bottom so that I have somewhere to put. So I have stem at the bottom there is bleeding like crazy to put in the bottom, to put in the pot there. All right, so let's just keep on doing that. I'm gonna cut, cut, cut. Now obviously you can leave these vines longer if you want to. I just am trying to stimulate new growth. I'm just gonna leave the rest of the nodes on the last cutting and see if they'll survive. Okay, so maybe I'll put like 4 or 5 in each one. Let's see how many will fit. 2, 3, oh my gosh, there's sap everywhere. I gotta try and get it off the leaves or else it kind of just like stains the leaf once it dries. Hanging plants can be hard sometimes too because the leaves are facing the wrong way. I gotta root this down this way. So what I try to do is kind of stick it in sideways. Let me see. For that, I will need the pins because I'm gonna pin it down sideways and let it root with the leaves facing up. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cuttings. So these aren't super variegated, but I do want to like let them, I'll sell a few like this, but I do want to let them grow and see if the new growth is going to come in variegated. So I'm just going to keep repeating that. And that is how I propagate my Hoya. Now I'm going to put them into a prop box when I'm done with this with high humidity. I do drill holes in my plastic bins. I do recommend it. I know not everybody does that, but I recommend that you do that if you can. It's just gonna make it a lot better and a lot easier for you. So this one's kind of variegated. Cute. 2, 3, yeah, some of these are more variegated than others. 4, got this guy in here. I just try to make them look like a little cute at least in their little cups. So some of these have some very faint variegation still on them. Okay, let me cut another vine. All right, same thing over again. I'll show you one more time. We are gonna leave the stem longer on the bottom, and we're just gonna cut a little bit from there. And again, same thing. We're gonna have different lengths between each node, and that's okay. Just try to give yourself as much room as possible without cutting too close to the node. You don't want to risk being too close to it with your cuts. Oh, that one has a little growth point. Okay. I'll just bury that one. And I'll leave that as a top cut, or should I don't even know. It's got crazy aerial roots. I'll just leave it as a top. Okay, so back to the prop box. Definitely make sure you've got good aeration unless you plan on opening it pretty frequently. And as long as your moss stays moist and not wet, you really can kind of set it and forget it, and your Hoya should have roots within just a few weeks. It depends on the Hoya. Some are a little bit slower than others, but in general, they root pretty quickly in this situation. Obviously, this isn't the only way to root them either. I've had a lot of success in Fulvic. You can do straight perlite if you want to. So yeah, do what works for you. And with bigger cuttings that aren't like this, I'll put them in water for the first couple of weeks until I see roots. Once I see roots, I usually will switch over to a moss perlite mix anyway. So it's, you know, it's really up to you. I just find that certain things, most things anyway, tend to root much faster in water. Okay, so make sure that your prop box is in a warm place. Make sure that it's getting light, but not like direct bright light on your new babies. And I promise you, they're gonna root so fast for you. This has been definitely like the quickest and easiest way. I like the moss because it holds on to the moisture pretty well, as long as you keep it at the right moisture. Like, don't let it be soaking wet for a long time. If it's going into a prop box, like when I soaked this, I grabbed the whole ball of moss and I squeezed out all of the excess water and I dumped it out so that this is just moist and not soaking wet. Does that make sense? The same way you would with a towel, anything, where you're just kind of wringing out all the excess water so that it's moist, but it's not soaking wet. You're gonna wanna do the same thing with your moss. And then pre-moisten your perlite is just healthier for you. You wanna get all that dust off so that you're not breathing it in. And it makes it easier in general with your mix. So as long as you've got all of that down, these are gonna root super duper fast for you. So that is how I root my Hoya. Okay, so obviously you can do like just moss, but I don't recommend it. Look at those roots in there. That Hoya has been in moss for quite some time. But that's gonna be a pain in the butt to get out of the moss. Hoya roots are very delicate, so the reason why I like the perlite is because it just creates more space for the roots to go so that it's a little bit easier to get it out of that and into soil when you're ready to put it into soil. Anybody who's rooted in moss before and left it in moss for a long time knows the nightmare of getting all of the moss off of the root ball without damaging all of the roots. And maybe with a bigger aroid or something along those lines with thicker roots, it's not that much of an issue. But again, Hoya have very delicate, thin root systems. Look at those skinny little roots. You're very rarely, I've actually never seen a Hoya with like chunky, thick roots, unless it's like a really big, old Hoya that's been in the same pot for a long time. So definitely keep that in mind. The perlite also acts as like aeration for the moss so that it's not getting too gross or moldy in there or anything like that. So I do love a good moss perlite mix. Plus, I think it looks pretty. And this is gonna be hard to keep. My hair is in there. The story of my life, you know, if you have hair longer than a few inches, it's everywhere. Anyway, I don't remember what I was saying, but that is how I root my Hoya, and that is how, oh, it's gonna dry up really quickly on you if you don't have it in a higher humidity situation. So that is also a factor. That's why I recommend putting it in a prop box, which literally is any clear plastic bin that you can get from Target or Walmart or wherever you go shopping. They have them at like Home Depot and Lowe's too, but they're usually cheaper at a Target or a Walmart. So that is what I do. All of these are gonna go in the little plastic container under grow light in a warm spot, and they'll be ready to go up in my shop actually in a few weeks. So stay tuned for that if you're interested. I'm going to try and get some more like variegated cuttings. I don't like to cut anything that's actively growing because these little baby leaves usually die back when you cut it, so I don't want to risk cutting these tendrils that are actively growing. I'm going to keep cutting back these old ones here, and that should encourage even more new growth. That will hopefully also be more variegated. Almost all of the new growth is coming in super variegated. Oh my gosh, it's so cute, this plant. I love it. So I'm very, very excited about the potential for this plant. I gotta get to work finishing propagating this. So let me know if you guys have any more questions about propagating Hoya that you feel like I didn't cover. I'm more than happy to answer them for you, but this is all I do. I'm gonna put them in a prop box after this, and I'm gonna forget about them for a couple of weeks, and I'm gonna come back and see what they look like and if they're rooted and they're ready to go. A lot of these, like I said, I already have aerials, so as long as those aerials don't die back for any reason, they're not super dry, so they should be fine. We should have some cute little babies in no time, and hopefully the new growth will come in nice and variegated, because you can kind of see that it fades. It looks like it might fade some of the older growth over time. So hopefully by cutting these vines back, it's going to encourage all of the new growth and all of the variegation. So we shall see. So that is it for this video, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed hanging out with me. If you did, you should give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything from me. There's a join button down there if you want to be part of the official plant fam. Get yourself some perky perks. If not, there's a super thanks button if you want to super thanks me. Everything is appreciated. Cannot do this without you guys, but you know the best way to support me is to check out my plant shop, but there's not a ton in there right now. So the best way to support me at this current moment in time is to download the Plant Story app using my referral link and come and hang out with me in my new live show that I am hosting over there. So I hope to see you guys there on Wednesday, December 13th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. On the Plant Story app, we're going to be talking about pest prevention and management, and I hope to see a lot of you there. So that is it, you guys. I love you so, so very much. I hope you're having a beautiful day wherever you are out there in the world. Don't forget to spread kindness. Don't forget to drink your water, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Wishing that one day you listen so we can connect again. I'm feeling the purpose. I know we're not perfect, but my soul is reaching out. I'm gonna